Hey everybody, welcome to a special edition of Friday Sews. So this is hashtag Get to Know Friday Sews. So people, or I should say sewing vloggers that are participating in Friday Sews are making videos to kind of share some more information about them. And so I've decided to go ahead and partake and answer the 10 questions plus a bonus question. So I have them here and I'm just gonna hop into it. And the first question is, what is my name? My name is Emily, and that's E-M-I-L-Y. Yep. Sometimes I like my name, sometimes I don't. But that's my name. And number 2 is, where am I from? I was born in Central California, and I've lived in California my whole life. I've lived in Northern California, back to the Central Coast, and then and for the past 23 years, I've lived in San Diego. Now, I've only lived in California. I've lived abroad. I've lived in London. I lived there for a year going to grad school, but otherwise in the United States, it's always been California. And that's why my sewing channel's name is SoCal Socialite, because I'm in SoCal, Southern California. Okay, so the third question is, how long have I been sewing? I've been sewing on and off for 20 years, and I'm going to kind of circle back to this question because question number 5 kind of talks about like if I'm self-taught. So let's move on to question 4. What machines do I have? I have 3 regular sewing machines. So I have the Bernina B330, which I love. It's a great little machine, very reliable. And then I bought a Bernina B770QE. So the QE means it's a quilter's edition. The 3 reasons why I bought this bigger machine is because the B770 offers a jumbo bobbin. So I think we've all been there when we're sewing and our bobbin runs out of thread, super annoying. So having a jumbo bobbin, great, all for it. Also, the room between, I know there's a special name, I can't remember, but you know that room to the right of your throat plate, there's more room there. And while that's really a bonus meant for quilters for this machine, hence the quilters edition, it's great for garment makers too, because when you're sewing a dress and you're attaching a skirt or you're gathering a skirt, having that extra space is it's welcomed. And the third reason is the B770 includes it's called the Bernina dual feed. So it's kind of like a walking foot. It's built in, but it does the same thing essentially. When you've got the 2 layers of fabric, it helps keep them from shifting. So those are the 3 main reasons I upgraded to a B770. Now I use both of my machines, and I will say that my Bernina B330, it was the floor model, so I saved money there. And then the B770 was actually a trade-in that I got at Sewing Machines Plus, so I saved a lot of money there. And I highly recommend it. If you can buy a trade-in or a floor model, do it. You're going to save money because these machines are not cheap. So for my serger, I started with the Brother 1034D. It's an inexpensive machine, but it is a great machine. So if you are looking to buy your first serger, or you need to buy an inexpensive serger, I highly recommend the Brother 1034D. Really, really great. I still use it, even though I also now have a Baby Lock Acclaim. I used to have a Baby Lock Imagine, but I ended up trading that one in and getting the 1034. I ended up getting the Acclaim. And both the Acclaim and the Imagine are air thread machines, which makes my life super easy. It's just threading the serger a breeze. And Baby Lock, they're just really great machines. But again, I use both my Brother and my Baby Lock. And then I do have a cover stitch machine, albeit I don't use it much at all. And that's just me being lazy because it's kind of in the corner because I don't have room for all of the machines. So it's a Janome 1000 CPX, and so far it's been great when I have actually used it. And I think I did tell you I have 3 regular sewing machines, so I forgot to mention the third one. And that one is actually was my grandmother's old Singer. So, it's those old metal black Singers, and it is such a great machine. And I actually dropped my B77 off to get serviced today. So I'm going to bring up that Serger and start using it because I'm going to bring up that Singer and start using it because those are great machines. I mean, the craftsmanship's on them, and they're just so reliable, and they're workhorses. They really are. And plus it was my grandmother's, and I really want to actually start using it. It shouldn't be sitting in storage. No. Okay. Question 5, which it kind of relates to question 3. So remember, question 3 was how long have I been sewing? And question 5 is, am I self-taught? So I'm going to say mostly self-taught because, well, I learned from my grandmother. So she kind of taught me the basics. I went to fashion school like over 20 years ago, and I have a degree in fashion design from FIDM in Los Angeles. Even though I never went into fashion design for a career, I completely went into a very, very different career. But she taught me when I was in school because our classes, we didn't have like sewing classes, Maybe we had basics if I can remember, but we didn't have dedicated sewing classes. So she helped me with my projects. And then, probably like going back 5 years now, I've turned to YouTube. I've turned to online sewing resources like blogs, Craftsy, Blueprint, YouTube tutorials. So I guess it's I learned from my grandmother, and I've started to expand my skills with online resources. So yeah. 6 is knits or wovens. So I have to say, I used to be terrified of knits, and it wasn't until I would say, I don't know, last year or so, I'm now really loving knits, and I kind of prefer them at this point in time because I don't have to worry as much about the fit because the fabric stretches. It's more forgiving with the fit, and it molds. See, like this is a double brushed poly. It molds around your body, whereas with wovens, you have to, it's more skills required in terms of fitting. But if you've been watching my channel, you know that I'm really focused on trying to learn fit. So hopefully it'll be 50-50 knits and wovens, but right now I'm liking the knits. Okay, 7 is Big 4 or indie, and I can't really choose, and the reason is because there's just pros and cons to both. The pros for the Big 4 are that you can usually buy them on sale for like $1.99 if you're McCall's, Simplicity, or Butterick, and then $5.99 if you're Vogue, at least if you're in the US and you have access to Joanne. And there's a lot of variety, there's way more styles, and you don't have to print papers and paste them together. Great, right? It's just a little bit easier. But I also like indie patterns because they have great instructions. Now, if you are an advanced sewist, that may not matter to you. You may not need hand-holding instructions, but I do find the fit to be better in general across the board for indie patterns. So it's hard for me to actually choose one or the other. But I guess if you're going to force my hand, I'm going to have to say the Big 4, and that's simply because the ease of just buying a pattern, cutting it out, not have to worry about taping anything, and there's more variety. So if you are good at fit, that's not going to matter. You can just take the pattern and fit it to how you need. All right, so 8 is, let's see, online or in-store, I think, fabric purchases. So I'm always going to want to feel the fabric. I mean, you want to touch it and see how it drapes and how much stretch it has. That's obviously easiest to do in store. But for me, I only have access to Joann's, and that's quite limiting. So a majority of my fabric actually comes from online, even though I can't feel it. But that is the truth. That's just kind of, I'm forced to say online because of circumstance, but if I had a choice, it would be in person. And believe me, when I travel, if I go to other cities, wherever, I look to see if they have fabric stores, and I will go if I have time. All right. So number 9 is, I can't read my own handwriting. Oh, favorite sewing task. And actually mine is the same as Jen's from Today in Jen's Sewing Room. I can never say the channel. So I like pressing. And I used to absolutely hate having to press my seams and my darts. I wouldn't do it, but finally I forced myself to do it, and I get a lot of satisfaction from seeing a nicely pressed seam or from pressing a dart, and then your garment is starting to take shape. You know, it's a really great feeling, and if there is some advice I have for you, it is to absolutely press as you go. And then I just got a new iron, which makes it even more enjoyable. And I will talk about that in a separate video. But yeah, it's the pressing for sure. Okay, advice. Well, my advice is actually what I just said. Press. Please press. It's going to make your garment look so much better if you press as you go. Believe me, please listen to this advice. It's the one piece I will say, just do it. And maybe if I have some other advice, it's, take advantage of all the resources you have online. Technology has afforded us this, puts us in touch with other YouTubers, online tutorials, classes online. It's really, really great. So use that to your advantage. I still do, if I come across a technique that I'm unsure about, I get on YouTube or I Google it, and it helps me a lot. But you probably already know that if you're watching this video. So press your seams. All right. I guess that's the end of the questions, but there is a bonus question. And that is, how did you hear about Friday Sews? And I heard about it from Jen Today in Jen's Sewing Room. I have to say that right. Yeah, she told me about it, and she really encouraged me to start doing them. And I'm glad that she did, because it's been great. I've been enjoying it, and it's been nice to say, okay, it's Friday, let's put out a video. It keeps me on my toes. And I've been introduced to several other sewing vloggers, and I'm very thankful for that, because it's just a great way to connect the sewing community. So, all right, so those are the questions. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about me. And if you have any other questions, just feel free to list them below. But I encourage you to search #GetToKnowFridaySews to learn more about other sewing vloggers. And until then, I'll see you in my next video.